On Global TV News Prime, President Tinubu promises better working conditions, fair wages for Nigerian workers. For the government to pay 2.75 billion naira compensation to property owners affected by Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. For the government raises salaries of military, police, and the Central Bank of Nigeria says it stands firm on loan deposit ratio policy to curb inflation. On the foreign scene, United Kingdom confirms first migrant held for Rwanda deportation flight. On sports, Everton make offer for Wilfred Ndidi. Hello and welcome to all the viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime here on Global TV. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Deacon Michael. President Bola Tinubu pledged better living and working conditions for all Nigerians of working age, saying the custodians of the nation's machinery deserve a fair wage and enhanced welfare. Tinubu made this pledge in his midday message dedicated to workers nationwide. Our President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Njeri Ngalale, conveyed the President's remark in a statement he signed titled President Tinubu Salutes Nigerian Workers on May Day. According to Ngalale, the President affirmed that his administration remains committed to improving the welfare of all workers, noting the various relief programs, including the wage award and the imminent minimum wage review. President Bola Tinubu sympathizes with victims of the recent gas explosion at the Taoshin, Abeokuta North Local Government area of Ogun State. Our President sympathizes with Ogun State government and residents of the state over this tragedy. In a statement signed by Tinubu's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Agujiri Ngalale, read, one person was reported dead, 6 others were injured, and 6 vehicles were burned in a gas tanker explosion on Saturday at the Taoshin along the Abeokuta-Sango-Lagos Expressway. The accident reportedly happened at about 4:10 p.m. The explosion from a solitary gas truck rippled through the community, resulting in the loss of life and properties. Tinubu commended Governor Dapo Abiodun on his valiant effort to arrest the situation and immediately restore calm to the community. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and all the union leaders have rejected the President Bola Tinubu's led government's 35% pay raise for workers in the country. The NLC President, Comrade Joe Ajero, stated these at an event to mark Workers' Day celebration. Deacon Michael has a story. According to NLC President, details of the government statement have not been formally received by the NLC, saying the increment in the salary is for certain categories of workers in the public service.
We are already working together in every context of the national minimum wage fixing process to ensure that better results are achieved, which will not only speak to the welfare of Nigerian workers, but also assist economic business activities around the country.
Other union leaders who reacted to the development says the gesture should be extended to all the categories of civil servants.
That is not the minimum wage. I just need to correct that impression. The 25 to 35% increase in salary is an outstanding that has been there. You know, other companies in the health sector have benefited from it. So this comes to the workers at the federal level and also those who are in the paramilitary, like the army, the police, and those are the men because of it. So it's not a national minimum wage. The issue of national minimum wage is still ongoing. We've not even reached the conclusion yet. So it's also an added advantage to Nigerian workers, especially those at the benefit.
The minimum wage is long overdue. The president and the committee must round up whatever they are doing within the month of May and ensure that this is signed into law and workers benefit. Workers are passing through difficult situations to get transportation to work to even survive. That is why we are saying survival wage must be paid.
Minimum is just the minimum. Now the discussion around the world and member countries of the ILO is that workers deserve a living wage. Living wage means look at all parameters that will be taken into consideration so that a worker and his family will be able to have a decent living with his wages for 30 days. Should be able to pay tariff, should be able to ride his car, should be able to pay school fees, should be able to have a decent living. That's what living wage entails.
We are disappointed that government up to today announced a minimum wage for Nigerian workers. The expectation was that as we that we should be able to go home. I hope of government announcing a minimum wage.
The first leader that says you please come forward, please. Let's move. The rest to follow suit, please.
Be able to announce minimum wage.
Please come up, please.
Not minimum, a living wage.
Edikan Michael reporting for Global TV News. Led administration to articulate and implement a definitive electoral reform agenda. The Executive Director YAG Africa, Samson Itada, made the call while reeling out a recommendation after presenting a report on Nigeria's electoral process 1 year after the 2023 general election. It says the commitment of the presidency to support and assent to legislative efforts to reform the electoral framework is critical to restoring public trust. Kikole Mokere has more details.
The pro-democracy organization noted that 1 year after the general election, an Afrobarometer survey revealed that only 23% of Nigeria trust the Independent National Electoral Commission, adding that it signifies a crisis of confidence that must be urgently addressed. The Election Monitoring Board stated this in the latest report titled Electoral Trust Restored: Nigeria Electoral Process 1 year after the 2023 general election. The Executive Director YAG Africa insisted on stringent measures against electoral offenders to deter future misconduct. They further urged the judiciary and security agencies to protect the sanctity of electoral material and the legal right of stakeholders to seek justice.
The President has not made any comment or even shared what his stance or the stance of his administration on electoral reforms. The third, that we've constantly observed attempts to capture the institution of INEC through controversial appointments. One other trend is unchecked electoral misconduct and the prosecution of electoral offenders, we've not really made progress, and that's why you have this culture of electoral impunity within our political system.
A comprehensive analysis of the state of the electoral process following the latest general election shows that there is decline in public trust and unclear stance of the Tinubu-led administration on electoral reform.
To ensure that our next election is better than the one that brought us in. We saw that happen in 2007, after the 2007 elections, with Yar'Adua's government, and we have seen that commitment to say, look, we need to take some actions, and we know what those actions are. The history of some of the reforms that have been made in our electoral issue, particularly the recent ones, without making reference to some of those actions that were taken after the 2007 elections.
The perceived capture of the election management body through partisan appointments undermine INEC's integrity. YAG Africa says it stands firm against any form of political interference that compromises the neutrality and independence of the electoral institution. Kikelomo Okem, Global Television News.
Justice Inyang of the Federal High Court in Abuja dismissed 2 separate suits challenging the People's Democratic Party's primary election that produced Ighodalo as the party's governorship candidate for the Edo poll. The court dismissed the suit on the premise of a lack of legal standing on the part of the plaintiffs. Justice Akol held that the plaintiff failed to convince the court or show sufficient direct and tangible personal interests that could lead the court to nullify the primary election. The court maintained that the plaintiffs did not establish how their interests were affected or jeopardized by the primary election. The House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream and Midstream has called on security agencies to pick up others of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, as the scarcity of the product continues to challenge Nigerians nationwide. This is as the committee assures Nigerians that its findings revealed the availability of petrol, stressing that logistical challenges have made the product scarce and being addressed. Addressing a press conference at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja, the co-chair of the committee and chairman House Committee on Petroleum Resources, Ikenga Ogochinere, said although there was enough petrol to service the country for about 30 days, the supply and distribution to marketers was disrupted by challenges of transport vessels. And now the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited began offloading 240 million liters of premium motor spirit, otherwise called petrol. It has the steps of efforts to tackle the worsening nationwide petrol scarcity. At the NNPCL began offloading the petrol, filling stations sold the product at an average price of 800 naira per litre in various locations. The 240 million liters of petrol imported into the country came into 5 vessels, which were offloaded into 5 depots. Despite claims by the NNPC that the logistics issues causing the fuel scarcity had been addressed, Nigerians in Lagos and other parts of the country still struggle to get fuel as many filling stations remain shut. In continuation of its crackdown on forex racketeers, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has penciled for investigation 1,146 bank accounts belonging to individuals and companies over alleged money laundering, unauthorized dealing in the foreign exchange, and illegal naira manipulation. The commission secured an interim order granted by Justice Emeka Nwite on the Federal High Court, Abuja, freezing the account. The FCC had told the court that the accounts were linked to persons taking advantage of cryptocurrency to illegally manipulate the naira value. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has said that closed-circuit television and solar light will be installed on the Third Mainland Bridge by June to check the activities of illegal miners' infrastructure. Umahi said this after a routine inspection of the under-deck project at the Ido Bridge, Carter Bridge, and the Third Mainland Bridges in Lagos. He said Bega is the contractor doing the Ido Bridge, Carter Bridge, and the Third Mainland Bridge, and has seen the pace of work made and also happy with it. Also promised to increase the pace of work against the incoming Lagoon Tide in June. And now the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board released the result of 2024 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations, showing that 1.4 million candidates out of 1.8 million failed to score 200 out of 400 marks. The number of candidates who failed to score half of the possible marks represents 78% of the candidates whose results were released by JAMB. Giving a breakdown of the result of the 1.8 million candidates released, the board's registrar, Professor Isha Olayede, noted that 8,401 candidates scored 300 and above, and 77.70 scored 250 and above. 439,974 scored 200 and above, while 1.4 million scored below 200. You're watching News Prime here on Global Television. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now sharing the screen. When News Prime returns, federal government to pay 2.75 billion naira compensation to property owners affected by Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. These and other stories coming right after this break. Stay with us. You're watching live broadcast of News Prime here on Global TV. Many thanks for staying with us. The United Kingdom government confirmed it has detained an unsuspecting number of migrants in recent days who are set to be deported to Rwanda in July under its controversial new policy. It comes a week after lawmakers ended month of parliamentary wrangling and passed a contentious law allowing some asylum seekers to be deported while declaring Rwanda to be a safe-third country. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who has vowed to stop migrants arriving on the small boat from mainland Europe, vowed last week to begin detaining people promptly before deportation flights start within 10 to 12 weeks. Now, the National Secretary of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, James Starr, has cited the Israel-Iran crisis as major cause of the current fuel scarcity in the country. In the past few days, fuel scarcity has led to long queues at filling stations, panic buying, and the surge in transport fares. Commenting on the development, Starr highlighted the federal government's role in importing petroleum products and allocating them to stakeholders, including IPMAN, for distribution. He noted that the current geopolitical tensions in the Middle East had compounded existing challenges, leading to a bottleneck in the supply chain. He, however, said that the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation had increased effort to alleviate the situation by opening the ports to ensure a steady supply of products. On the business news, as part of efforts to increase the gross domestic product of the country, the federal government says it's set to establish Solid Minerals Corporation with private-driven structure. The Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, disclosed this while declaring open a two-day roundtable summit on the sustainable development of the mining industry in Nigeria. Sharon Ajay has the details.
The Vice President, who was represented by the Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule, stressed that the establishment of the corporation will attract more investors into the sector, adding that 50% of the revenue will go to private sector, while 25% will go to Nigeria at large, and the remaining 25% will go to the government's purse. He further disclosed that the federal government will launch a lithium-producing company in Nasarawa State in the next few weeks, which will be producing over 4,000 metric lithium per day.
Nigeria is blessed when it comes to solid minerals. And indeed, solid minerals is the way to go. The minister has said so much about so many things that I wanted to have said. Everywhere you see Mr. President now, in every country he has gone, the minister has become the senior minister. I'm the junior minister. I think the president is now the senior minister of solid minerals. Because what I see him doing is, everywhere he goes, he will say, in Nigeria, we have the highest purity of lithium. In Nigeria, I say, this man who's teaching you about lithium? And this is what is actually, going on, because the lithium is the direction to go. We have not had any next meeting where the minister was invited to come and make a presentation, but he had taken it, and the moment he said 50% of this structure is going to be private sector driven.
Our partnership with NIPS enables us to provide strategic counsel to institutions on interactions and partnerships with government entities. We enable investment decisions making, and we build corporate reputation and citizenship. We also drive alignments of corporate interests with the government policy objectives. Through these brainstorming sessions of today, we hope to bring key stakeholders in mining from the private sector, government, and the civil society to discuss the current mining landscape in Nigeria and explore potential opportunities for investment facilitation and sector development.
In his address, the Minister of Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, stated that government has established mining marshals to curb illegal mining activities in the sector across the nation, while disclosing that the over 200 mine marshals have been trained by military in each state. Alake noted that without securing the mining sector, the effort of the government will be futile. He stressed that the federal government tends to sanitize the environment to attract more investors and legal miners.
President's projection is not a fluke. He knows what he's saying. by the time we are done with all of these efforts and inputs and policy initiatives that we are putting in place, trillion of naira will just be a child's play. We'll be nudging the trillions of dollars. Already, we are embarking on aggressive and proactive promotion of Nigeria's endowment to foreign investors.
We identified the mining sector as one of the sectors that can contribute to our reaching $1 trillion economy in a very short time. We believe that the $1 trillion economy cannot be achieved if the mining sector is underperforming or is not paying its own fair share. There is no country that has made significant contributions to its own GDP or that has grown without a successful steel sector.
Sharona J. reporting for Global TV News.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has again justified its reliance on the loan deposit ratio to control the country's rising inflation. The Apex Bank also said it is ready to do whatever it takes to reduce the inflation rate. The CBN's acting director of the Banking Supervision Department, Dr. Adetona Adedeji, disclosed this on CBN Talked today. The CBN reduced the LLDR of banks from the previous 65% to 50%, a move the regulator said will stabilize the economy. The federal government has approved a 25 to 35% increase in the salary structures of the police officers, the armed forces public servant, among others. It was announced through the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, stating that the salary raises take effect from January 1st, 2024. The statement issued by the head of press, Emmanuel Nyoiko, said the approved increase of between 25 and 35% in salary was for civil servants on the remaining 6 consolidated salary structures. The federal government announced that it was set to issue a fully valid operating license to the 650,000 barrels per day capacity Dangote Petroleum Refinery. It announced this at the Stakeholders Consultation Forum on the Midstream and Petroleum Host Community Development Trust regulations organized by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority in Abuja. The agency of the federal government, however, explained that though it had awarded a pre-commissioning license to the $20 billion refinery, a fully valid operating license would be issued to the Dangote refinery soon. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has disclosed that the federal government will pay 2.75 billion naira compensation to property owners affected by the demolition necessary for the construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, spanning from Channel 0 to Channel 3. He revealed this information during a stakeholders meeting held in Lagos State. More compensation is expected to be paid in coming days, said the minister. We'll now turn to Kikolomo Kerry for update on business news.
Hello and welcome to Business Report on Prime News. 9 fintech companies have frozen 105 accounts allegedly involved in unauthorized foreign exchange dealings, money laundering and terrorism financing. This follows an application by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission to the Federal High Court in Abuja. The court granted an interim order on 24th of April 2024 to freeze the account for 90 days while investigation continues. The affected fintech and the number of accounts include Fair Money Microfinance Bank, Kuda Microfinance Bank Limited, OP Digital Service, Carbon Microfinance Bank, Momo Payment Service Bank, Pagatech, Pampay Limited, and MoneyPoint. These frozen accounts are part of a larger investigation by the EFCC into 1,146 bank accounts suspected of forex racketeering. The EFCC believes that the owner of some of these accounts exploited cryptocurrency platform to manipulate the naira value against the dollar. It could be recalled that a couple of weeks ago, the EFCC chairman Ola Olukoyede told journalists that about 300 accounts had been frozen because of their connection to illegal trading on peer-to-peer platform. He explained that over $15 billion passed through a particular unnamed forex platform in the last year outside financial regulations. Following these account freezes, several fintech include OP, MoneyPoint, Pampay, and Kuda Bank have temporarily suspended the opening of new accounts. Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria (CIBN) says the recapitalization exercise of banks is a welcome development as it will empower banks to finance the real sector. The president, CIBN, Ken Opara, says the recently announced upward review of the minimum capital requirements of Nigerian banks by the Central Bank of Nigeria further empowers banks to extend credit to economy, especially with the productive sector. He made this known at the CIBN annual lecture with the theme Improving Availability of Credit in the Nigerian Real Economy, the Critical Importance of Liquidity in Lagos. Opara says it has become increasingly evident that ensuring adequate liquidity within the banking system is very fundamental to fostering sustainable economic growth and development. The real economy comprises the agriculture sector, manufacturing, construction, and indeed services sector as tangible foundation of the nation's economic activity. Despite the significant impact of the real sector, access to credit for deal is relatively low compared to what is attainable in other clients. According to statistics, nearly $141 trillion has been lent out to the real sector in advanced country in the second quarter of 2023. He says the figure is twice as high as the volume of credit in same sector for emerging markets. About 34.3% of Nigerian workers aged 15 and older are working poor, living below the poverty line despite being employed. This is according to the Nigerian Country Diagnostic Notes (CDN) 2023 by the African Development Bank, which was published on the bank's website. According to the new document, many workers in Nigeria are trapped in poverty due to low-skilled and low-wage jobs. The output per worker fell sharply from 8.7% growth rate in 2013 to a decrease of 0.8% in 2022. Such decline in productivity not only reflects economic challenges, but also suggests that many firms struggle to adjust their workforce in response to the changing economic condition. This situation is exacerbated by the fact that only a small fraction of the workforce achieves higher education levels, further restricting their opportunities for better employment. It added that 41% of Nigerian workers were in low-skilled jobs, 28% in medium-skilled jobs, and only 31% in highly skilled jobs. Skill mismatch and educational inadequacy not only affect individual workers, but also pose a broader challenge to the country's economic progress. Kike Lomo Ukeri, Global Television News.
We'll now turn to Cheong Kanamo for roundup on entertainment news.
Nigerian megastar Burna Boy continues to record historic feats that push the boundaries of the global commercial success of African music. In another monumental feat, Burna Boy becomes the African artist with the highest grossing venue in the United States. In a post by Touring Data on X, it was revealed that Burna Boy's 2024 concert at the TD Garden Arena in Boston grossed $1.593 million, thereby surpassing the previous African record he set at Madison Square Garden in 2022. In his history-making concert, Burna Boy sold out the 19,000-capacity TD Arena Garden in Boston as part of the stop for his I Told Them tour that has already grossed $11,659,531 from the 11 reported shows of the 22 stops. Burna Boy's history-making feat is a testament to his status as the leading African artist globally. Since breaking into the international scene in 2018 with his hit single Yeah, Burna Boy has achieved unprecedented success for an African artist. The African giant, as he is fondly called, is the only Nigerian artist to have 2 diamond songs in France with On The Low and Last Last. His Grammy-nominated 4th album, African Giant, is also the first Nigerian album to receive a platinum plaque in France. Burna Boy boasts of the most Grammy nomination for a Nigerian artist with 10. He also made history in February 2024 at the 66th Grammys when he became the first African artist to perform at the main ceremony. Celine Dion is a pop music icon and one of the most famous artists in the world. For some time now, the singer has been struggling with an incurable rare neurological disease. The artist has just surprised her fans and posed on the cover of May issue of Vogue France 2024. On this occasion, Celine Dion gave an honest interview in which she touched upon, among others, health topic. Celine Dion appeared on the cover of the May issue of France Vogue in a photo session that caused great interest. The artist does not hide her joy at the opportunity to return to her fans. Celine suffered from the so-called Steve Mann syndrome. This rare neurological disease causes gradual muscle strafing and spasms. The diagnosis forced the artist to interrupt her Courage World Tour and cancel many concerts. In an interview, she admitted that although she has not defeated the disease, she does not lose hope in finding a cure. The artist also revealed that her return to the stage is highly questionable. Blue Ivy Carter, the 12-year-old daughter of Beyoncé and Jay-Z, has joined the voice cast of upcoming Lion King prequel, Mufasa, the Lion King. In the film, Blue Ivy voices Kiara, the daughter of King Simba, and Queen Nala, portrayed by her mother Beyoncé, who reprises her role from the 2019 photorealistic remake. Directed by Barry Jenkins, known for Moonlight, the prequel delves into Mustafa's origin story and his childhood alongside his brother Scar. Similar, the 2019 movie, it was blend live-action filmmaking techniques with photoreal computer-generated imagery. Jenkins praised Blue Ivy's professionalism, noting that both she and Beyoncé approached their role with dedication. He highlighted their natural mother-daughter dynamics, stating that they didn't have to pretend much on set. The teaser trailer for the film debuted on the U.S. breakfast show Good Morning Africa, hinting at Mustafa's transformative journey despite his humble beginnings. Aaron Perry and Kelvin Harrison Jr. voiced the younger version of Mustafa and Scar. Respectfully, in the prequel, Donald Glover returned as Simba. While this marks Blue Ivy's debut film role, she previously showcased her talent as a dancer on her mother's live tour. Her involvement in the film inevitably reignites discussion about nepotism in the entertainment industry. Mustafa from Disney, the Lion King, is the noble and wise king of the Pride Land, ruling over his vast African domain with fairness and compassion. As the father of Simba and mate to Queen Sarabi, Mustafa served as a mentor, teaching his son valuable lessons about responsibilities, leadership, and the cycle of life. His character embodies strength and dignity, earning him respect and admiration from all who know him. However, his reign faced threats from his jealous brother Scar, who plots to take over the throne. Tragically, Mustafa's life ends when Scar engineers a wild beast stampede, resulting in a heart-wrenching scene where Mustafa dies while trying to save Simba. His death marked a pivotal moment in the film, pushing Simba on a journey of self-discovery and redemption as he grapples with the weight of his father's legacy. Mustafa's memory lives on as a symbol of paternal love, guidance, and sacrifice, making him one of the most beloved and iconic characters in popular culture. Chung Anamel Joseph, reporting for Global TV News.
And in sport news, English Premier League club Everton are the latest club to be linked with Nigeria international Wilfred Ndidi, with reports saying that the Toffees have tabled an offer to the midfielder ahead of the next season. Following an impressive 2023-2024 season with Leicester City in the English Championship, Nigeria international Wilfred Ndidi had seen its status raised again to become one of the most reliable and sought-after defensive midfielders in Europe. After going down with the Fogs, Ndidi was immediately linked with a move away from the club, but the King Power outfit were able to hold on to midfielder who had just left a year on a contract at the time. The Nigerian international goalkeeper Chiamaka Nnadozie has HR name in the history books by becoming the first African and Nigerian player to be crowned the best goalkeeper in the French Alchemas Women's League. The 23-year-old shot-stopper's remarkable achievements this season, including her penalty-saving errors, cemented her status as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Nnadozie beat out stiff competition from Olympic Lions Christian D. Enla and the Paris CG to claim the coveted individual accolade. Nnadozie's penalty-saving prowess was unmatched this season, with the Nigerian international saving an impressive 7 penalties, the highest tally in Europe. As we wrap up News Prime here on Global TV, let's take a look at the top stories. President Tinubu has promised better working conditions and fair wages for Nigerian workers. Central Bank of Nigeria stood firm on loan deposit ratio policy to curb inflation. And in sport, we told you Everton have tabled an offer for Wilfred Ndidi. And that's the package on News Prime coming to you live here in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. On Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platform using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing the screen. I am Edikan Michael, many thanks for watching. See you again.